Thank you. ASI is in Washington, D.C. today to celebrate 400 years of slavery in America. America started breeding slaves in August 1619. Today is August 19th, 2019. 400 years later, this is a historical day in America's history. The words I say here today and what we're doing here today will affect America in the future. Everyone knows that slavery is the cornerstone in America's economic foundation. We discuss slavery, but we never realize the depth of what we're discussing. When we stop and dissect the result of 400 years of slavery, we realize there's a lot more that need to be said. To say the truth outright, America had a baby and tried to keep it hid. The baby has grown to become the American slave culture. Descendants of American slaves are America's only offspring culture. There were several people who were supposed to be here today to speak to this issue. Dr. Bessie was supposed to be the main speaker. But what we say here today is too important to be spoken. What we say here today is a part of history. So instead of speaking today, I will read today, because if we study history, we realize that my people, descendants of slaves, were enslaved because they couldn't read. Not being able to read breeds ignorance. Withholding intelligence breeds ignorance. My culture was bred to be ignorant. These are things we don't like to talk about. But if we want to straighten out America's situation and stop the killings in the neighborhood and all the foolishness that we're involved in, we are going to have to start speaking the truth so we can get to the core of the matter. H.R. 1242 is an act that was signed into law to celebrate 400 years of slavery. They called it 400 years of African American contribution to America. That's the way the act reads. This is political double talk that keeps slavery covered up and descendants of American slaves ignorant of our proper identity. When we celebrate 400 years of slavery, which we're starting to celebrate today, America overall, we're celebrating American slaves' birthday. So before I get too far into this, I'd like to stop right here and sing happy birthday to American slaves. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, American slaves. Happy birthday to you.
Many more until you're 400 or more.
Right. It all started when slaves were cultivated in the womb of America during slavery. After the incubation period in the womb, American slaves were freed from the womb of slavery. This was in 1865 at the close of the American Civil War. American slaves' freedom consisted of being kicked out of slavery, misnamed Negroes, and left to wander in poverty and cultural ignorance. The year is now 2019. ASI is in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, to formally introduce the American slave culture to America, our mother country. We know who we are. We're American slaves, and we're here today to be introduced to our mother country, America. We're here to lay claim to American slaves' birthright. My culture did a fantastic job helping to build America. We did a fantastic job. And doing a fantastic job, we want to claim our birthright. We do want to claim our birthright. We want our fair share of America's wealth. And because we are America's only offspring, we expect to receive an only child's share. At some point, America is going to have to pay the debt that is owed from slavery. How to make that payment has been a sticking point since slaves were ejected from the slavery. January 16, 1865, General Sherman was supposed to enact an order where slaves got 40 acres and a mule. He dropped the ball. It didn't happen. I have tried to reach those who I thought were our leaders, black leaders. I've tried to reach them, to make them aware that the American slave culture exists, but I've received no response.